Sanhedrin, page 110. We'll start with 109b, 4 lines from the bottom of the page. Today we're going to cover the issue of the 10 versus 2 tribes. As you know that we all descendants, all the Jewish people, descendants of the 12 tribes, yet as far as we know, it was the 10 lost tribes. The Mishnah and the Gemara try to tell us where are they and where they are destined and why. Those tribes that we believe we are, we find out from where and how. Meanwhile, and until we reach that point, we're going to discuss several biblical chapters that we discussed yesterday and day before yesterday. The story of Korach in the book of Bamidbar, the fellow that rebelled against the leadership of Moses and Aaron, and how things turn in certain ways. So we explained that among those who joined him in the campaign against Moses was several others for all kind of reasons, yet not all of them were punished the way that Korach was punished. So let's start with the story of On ben Pelet. It's a descendant from a tribe of Reuven, the first son of Jacob and Leah, and the story of his rescue. Marav On ben Pelet ishto hitzilatu. This is a fascinating message that many of our rabbis said a wife can ameliorate and uplift the person to the highest, or can bury him. The source is here. We have 2 different wives. One saved the husband's life, one bury husband's alive. The one who saved husband's life, it's the wife of On, son of Pelet. Amra lei mai nafka lach mina. When you are joining the campaign, as we know in the book of Bamidbar, we explained yesterday, that Korach, a siege campaign with 250 leaders, very strong, nasty campaign against the leadership of Moses and Aaron. So while he was approached, On, son of Pelet, because he was all time disappointed over different issues, his wife said to him, what do you gain out of joining this great controversy and conflict? You raise the friction between the parties, you join the Korach, but you gain nothing personally. Ima rabba anat talmida, v'ima rabba an talmida. If whoever is the winner, if Moses wins, you are his student. If Korach wins, you will be students. The Midrash Rabbah said the fight is over the high priesthood, the first high priest. So if Aharon will win, you get nothing, you'll be his disciple, and if Korach will win, you remain disciple. So what's the purpose of you joining that campaign? Amarla Mayeved, he said to his wife, your point makes a lot of sense, but what can I do? I promise my friends, whatever they are, the Korach's campaign, that I join them. Do you know people like that? So anyway, Havai be'etza v'ishtav ba'adayu. Guess what? I went to that meeting, that council, and I gave him my word that I'm going to join him. So what can I do now? So his wife Amra, either Amra Le or Amra, Yadana b'dechulak nishta kadishtaninu. I know that everyone, it's kind of holy people. Everyone claim to be modest and to be holy and to be righteous, etc., etc. So since they all claim that, and it can be that both parties are right, I'm going to do something different to save you. She said, Dichtiv ki kol ha'eda kulam kedoshim. When Korach rebelled, his campaign slogan, his key point was, he said that everyone in the congregation are holy. The whole people are holy. Why you appointed yourself and your brother, Moses and Aaron, to be the leaders? So the tuv da'ana matil nalach. So return, change your way, and I will save you. So how much he agree or not, it's a question. But the reality, what she did is ashkitei chamra ve'arvitei ve'agantei gavai. So she just gave him wine to drink. He drank and he became drunk and he fell asleep. While he was asleep, she took off her hair cover and she sat outside of the tent. Now, these people, when they come to call him the next morning, they notice that a married woman, unlike the law of the land, she is standing there with the hair out, and they stay away. So the Maharsha said even they planning to call her husband, he is total drunk, so he will be in a sleep, so he will not violate his oath to go together with them. Otva al baba, so she sat at the entrance of the tent. 110, ustarta lemazia, and she exposed her hair through, she was bathing. Kol de'ata chazia, all those people that came from the campaign of Korach, they saw her and stepped back. Obviously, it's what the Gemara in Brachot 24 said, that it's considering an act of immodest. Hadar ude'achei ve'achei ibalulu. So in the meantime, the assembly of Korach was swallowed into the ground, and On, son of Pelet, was spared because of the wife. So the Maharal explains that it was 4 different groups, and each group have a different reason why they partake of that campaign. Datan and Aviram did not want for themselves a priesthood. They just rude people that want to create friction against the leadership of Moses. The 250 leaders, they want to be a priest, so they basically not oppose his leadership, they just want to have the honor of being a priest. Korach wants to be a high priest for himself, but he also joined the Tanaviram out of jealousy of Moses and Aaron, and On ben Pelet was nothing to do with a disputation, anger or anything. He just a person that have this trait of like controversy, likes to see blood. He just doesn't want to have the reign of leadership like a king of Moses. He wants to be a free person, and therefore it was easy for his wife to convince him to stay away from that. That switch king will not make any difference for himself selfishly. The late Satmar Rebbe brought the beautiful Yerushalmi. He said that if they do not believe in God, Datan and Aviram, so what's the issue of Erva? What is their issue of a wife standing outside with no cover of her hair? They don't believe in God at all. So he said that that's the part that show how phony they are. Why? Because at the time of war against the leadership of Moses, all of a sudden they want to show the people that they are righteous, that they are very pious religious people, just to gain the political campaign against Moses. And it's not because they really care, because as the text tells us, they not even believe in God, so why they care if a woman cover her hair or not? But Rashi said that shesatra et seara, that she just took her hair, וישבה על פתח הבית, she sat at the front of that tent, וכל מי שבא לקרות רואה אישה פרוע, ראשה פרוע וחוזר. Anyone who comes in, see a woman with the hair exposed and leave. So it's a book called Brit Shalom, the Yalkut HaOrim bring him. He said that, the Gemara in Yoma said that kimchit יצא ממנה 5 בנים. So he explained, based on what we read also from the Saba of Kelem, Simcha Zisrael Kelem, he said that the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, mesame enav shel adam, that he blind the eye of a person. Why? Because when the people of the company of Korach saw women with the hair out, they went backward, right? They left. They didn't want to come close to her court, but to dispute of the Manhig Gadol, of the leadership of millions of people, Moshe Rabbeinu, the righteous man, that they have no fear. But they have a fear of, God forbid, to come close to women's hair. Anyway, it's a Eititei de Korach. So since we said that On ben Pelet was saved by his wife, We now go the other way around, how wife bury a husband. The wife of Korach said to him, Itetei Korach amra le chazei makavid Moshe. She said, Marsha explains that just a instigator, someone who poisoned her husband. She says, look what Moses does. He does it not for anything else, but just for himself. It's not because God instructed him by any means. Why? Ihu hava malka. He himself treated himself in an attitude as a king. La'achua shavyei kahana rabba. He set up in the way of favoritism, not just for himself as a king, but he pointed out his family, his close family, to be in the powerful position, leadership. Why? He appointed his brother to be a high priest, and livnei achoi shavinu sganei kehuna. And his nephews, the children of his brother, he made the second in command of the high priest. I atiyat truma, if people come and bring a contribution, as the Torah said in the book of Bamidbar chapter 18, the people need to give a tithe. So how it happens? They bring the tithe. Amar te'eve lakohen. Moses said, oh, you bring a tithe, it should be given to the priest. If there are out of the priest 10% that they give to the Levi, Amar havu chad me'asara lakohen. So he said 1/10 give it to the priest. So even the Leviim reach not 10%, reach more from the Kohanim, because the Kohanim gets about 1/50 of the crop. But if you count the numbers in the way that's written in the Torah, it's about 3%, depending how you count. And the rest, the rest of the Levi get 9%. So anyway, ועוד the guys ליה למזייכו ומתעללכו כי כופתא אינה יהב במזייכו. He said that, she said, he shears your hair and waves you as if you are insignificant, as excrement, which means as though he set sight on your hair and wishes you to be shaven and unsightly. So Amar la, Korach said to her, Ha'iu namikavid, but didn't he also do so? He shaves his hair like the rest of the Leviim. Amar le, kevan dekulu revut adidei, Amar yuname tamot nafshi im plishtim. She said to him, since it's all done for his own prominence, he also said metaphorically, like Samson said, I shall die with all the Philistines. So he was willing to humiliate himself in order to humiliate you. ועוד דקאמר לכו אבידתו תחלתא. And furthermore, when Moses commanded the people on behalf of God to prepare the tzitzit, the fringes at the corner of the garments, it's written in the book of Bamidbar chapter 15, he incorporated that the blue fringes, that it was in the chilazon dam, so it's made out of the that animal. So he said, Isarka da'atach tchelta chashiva mitzvah, הפig לימד את חלתה וחסין לו חילוב מטבעתך. If he said that the sky blue dye is considering mitzvah, take out robes that are made entirely of material color and sky blue dye, and dress all as a student of your academy in sky blue robes without ritual fringes. Why could one not fulfill the mitzvah in that way? So as you see here, that the whole notion was to instigate him. Since his prominence and reign are recognized by all, shaving will not lead others to disparage him. The rest of the Leviim, the Maharsha said, whose standing is not as prominent, will be disparaged. So it's all words of poisoning him against him. Hainu dichtiv, that's what King Solomon said in the book of Proverbs, chapter 14. Chachmot nashim banta beita, or chochmat nashim, because it's written in patach. But it means that the wise woman, Rashi said, build the home. Zo ishto shel on ben Pelet. In her wisdom, she was able to build the house of Pelet, and the other way around, on the contrary, ve'ivelet beyadat teher sena, and folly plucks it down with her hands, which is Zo ishto shel Korach, that's the wife of Korach. And the Marsha said that she caused the destruction of her own home, which is the Torah said, Vativla otam ve'et batehem. The earth opened its mouth like an earthquake and swallowed them. ויקומו לפני משה ואנשים בני ישראל 50 ו200. So they rebel against Moses, and they said it was 250 important people, princes of the congregation. So they said, מיוחדים שבעדה, the distinctive people of the assembly. קריאי מועד שהיו יודעים לעבר שנים ולקבוע חודשים. They said that they are also a elect men of the assembly, meaning they can intercalate the years and establish the month in order to determine the time of each moed, of each festival. And Shem, people that have a renowned name, Bechol Ha'olam, which means Bakol, Bechol Ha'olam, which means that they have either the whole world or they are blessed with wealth, wisdom, and understanding. Vayishma Moshe vayipol al panav. So when Moses heard that, he fell on his face. So, Mashmo Hashama, what exactly he heard? Amar Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Yonatan, shechashadu me'eshet ish. שנאמר ויקנו למשה במחנה. Said that he heard that they bad-mouth him, that they have relation with married women. אמר רבי שמואל בר יצחק, מלמד שכל אחד ואחד קינא את אשתו ממשה. Each person warned his wife not to be alone with Moses. שנאמר ומשה ייקח את העול ונתן לו מחוץ למחנה. He placed his tent in order for people not to bad-mouth in the camp. And the Vilna Gaon in Aderet Eliyahu explained that all the Nevi'im, all the prophets get the prophecy by Malach. Moshe Rabbeinu Pel Pe'adaber Bo, like direct, when they suspected him that he get it by Ishim. Ishim is like Malachim, like Eshet. The same way as the wife received from a husband, he received his prophecy Ish from the Malachim, that's called Ishim. That's the Vilna Gaon hold. But anyway, the simple way is that they suspected him to have relation with married women. ויקם משה וילך אל דתן ואבירם. So they said that when Moses heard that, he stood up after he asked them to have peace, but then he arose and went to Datan and Aviram. Meaning he have another attempt to reconcile it. אמר יש לקיש מכאן שאין מחזיקין במחלוקת. Rish Lakish said something very deep and very important. He said that as much as there are sometimes controversy, one may not perpetuate a dispute, which means it's prohibited to perpetuate a dispute, and one must, that's the way the Rif said, and Rabbi Gaon and others, must initiate reconciliation even if he is in the right. The Ramban enumerates this as one of the 1613 mitzvot, but the Rambam does not enumerate to say it's his tally. But anyway, it's a very important concept that not machzikim, should not hold the machloket continuation. The Amarav kol המחזיק במחלוקת עובר בלאו שנאמר ולא יהיה ככוח ועדתו. Rav said something strong. He says anyone who perpetuated a dispute violated the prohibition, which is the Torah said in the book of Numbers chapter 17, and he will not be like Korach and his assembly. Even the aggrieved party must seek to end the dispute. Natan Avraham accused Moshe Rabbeinu, and by right should have initiated the reconciliation. Nevertheless, Moses was not insisted on this. He went to them, even he knew he's right, he went to them to reconcile. The Meshech Chochmah have explanation, but I'd like to share with you something important from the Chafetz Chaim. The amazing story was that it was a big fight in the community in that Polish city of Radin. And the great rabbi, one of his books called Chafetz Chaim, he went to the one of the parties and he said, "You're fighting it, but don't you notice that since these terrible machloket, these terrible fights, you children are ill, and one of them it's about to pass away. God forbid, do you want to lose your children?" And the guy answered the Chafetz Chaim in such a chutzpah, in the rude way in Yiddish. Try to translate it to English. It's hard even to imagine. And he said to the Chafetz Chaim, "I lose them all, but I win this fight." Can you imagine? A person that have this perseverance over hatred and fight, go through the length to say, "I'm willing and ready to lose, God forbid, my precious children to win the fight against that fellow." Show how crazy people are sometimes. But one of those brochures that you get by mail, it was from the Kupat Ha'ir. It's one of those organizations that collect money for the people in need. So they brought an amazing story about a fellow that was sitting in one of those simchas, one of those celebrations, and someone really humiliated him and create a very unpleasant controversy and humiliation in public. So it was a fellow who sat next to him, and he said to him, "Listen, let it go, and just give me that mitzvah, that you let it go." So the guy looked at him and he said, because he was a stranger, who sit next to him at the simcha, I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Look, I'm about 20 years without children. If you give me that mitzvah, that you swallowed your pride and being humiliated and hurt over this controversy, and you just let the abuser feels good about himself that he won, and give me that blessings, you know, it will be a huge schut for you, and I'm willing and ready to have even my child that was born of that name in your name." And the guy, either half jokingly or willingly, said fine. He didn't respond, he didn't get back, he didn't do anything, and he gave him that. And the story goes, according to that magazine, that 9 months later his wife was blessed with a child after 20 years of being childbearing, and he named the child after the accuser, the person who been humiliated in public and let go. So again, this is a serious business, and that's what the Gemara here referred to, the idea in machazikim b'machloket. Because since the earliest times, the only time you know that one party is 100% right and another party is 100% wrong, that's what the Torah said, "V'lo yeh kekoach v'adato." Lo yeh kekoach v'adato, the rabbis tells us, it was only one time in the world history that one party was 100%. The rest, it's always two sides of everything. רב אשי אמר ראוי להצטרע, כתיב אחא ביד משה לו, וכתיב התם, ויאמר השם לו עוד הבנה ידך בחיקך. So here, Rav Ashi said that one who perpetuates a dispute is fit to be afflicted with leprosy, meaning there is God there, and He takes care. So one of the things is the physical sickness, and the person who does that, the text used the verbal analogy, Beyad Moshe lo, avena yadcha bechikecha, to him. So you have to him in both psukim. So it's derived that the punishment for perpetuating a dispute is, in Rav Ashi's view, is leprosy. But whatever it is, it's something that in our language gods will not let go. Amar Rabbi Yossi, It's another prohibition. Kol hacholek al malchut beDavid. As you know, that King David was our Redeemer, descendants of Ruth, descendants of the Chesed of Avraham Avinu, and you can read in my book Ruth Talk a full chart how Chesed come to Chesed, the house of Ruth and the house of Boaz, Yehuda, and Avraham Avinu. It's all the same Chesed come to Chesed. So it was those vicious people who tried to challenge the reign of David. So he said, Ra'ui la kishon chash. He's fitting for a snake bite, that the snake should bite him. Why? K'tivacha, when the son of David, one of the vicious sons, was named as Adonijah, he tried to take the kingdom from his father while his father was alive forcefully. So they said in the first book of Kings, chapter 1, verse 9, ויזבח אדוניהו צאן ובקר ומרים אבן הזוחלת. So even Adoniah was from the house of David, but since it was already promised to Solomon, it's like someone who challenged house of David, Maharsha Yad Ramah said. So let me share with you the Rambam in introduction to our perek. He said, "Hayesod ha-12 yemot HaMashiach." The Rambam have the well-known 13 principles of faith. So he said the 12 is the foundation that we believe in the Messianic era. Umichlal yesod ze, and part of this important belief, credence that we have, she'en melech liYisrael ela mibet David, that the kingdom from the Jewish people has to be a descendants of King David, umizera Shlomo bilvad, from that line, Solomon, his father David. V'chol hacholek al hamishpacha azot, anyone who challenge that lineage, kafar b'shem Hashem yitbarach u'b'divrei nevi'av, is like express his word of heresy against God and its prophets. וכתיבתה ממחמת זוחלי עפר. That's the הזוחלת, the same roots. So it's basically the punishment of someone who rebel against the reign of David is to be beaten by a snake. It's like the Nachash HaKadmon, the earliest snake that Maharsha explained, that it was the Ma'in Sotah, page 9, said that he was the king of the animals at that time. And he was jealous of a person the same way, and he was eventually been cursed the same way as someone who jealous of the kingdom of David and disputed, he deserved the same. אמר רב חיסדא כל החולק על רבו כחולק על השכינה. Rav Chisda said that anyone who disagrees with his teacher is like one who disagrees with the divine providence. So obviously we talk about students that create friction, and it's like create friction with the divine. שנאמר הם המריבה שרבו בני ישראל את השם. So obviously we're not talking about just another teacher. We talk about Rebbe, someone who's teaching Torah. So obviously the Be'er Sheva and the Ramah and others, Pidrei Tshuva, what exactly a person allowed to challenge what his Rebbe teach and how respectfully he can disagree. Amar Rabbi Chanina bar Papa, kol hamitraem al rabo, anyone who express resentment against his teacher for wronging him, he said, Ke'ilu mitraem al hashchina, it's like he is expressing resentment against the divine presence. שנאמר לו עלינו תלונותיכם כי על השם. Moses said, you should not complain against that. You have a problem, go before God. In the book of Shmot, chapter 16, verse 8. So basically, Moses said when people complain about different things, the generation of the desert, he said that don't complain to us, complain to the one who sent us. So so the complaint is, the Maharsha tells us, that because Moses and Aaron were on the leadership that moved people from one location to another, but it's indirectly because there was a God behind them. It's like resentment, war of resentment against God. אמר רבי אבאו כולו מערער אחר רבו כאילו מערער אחר שכינה. he said that anyone, either there's a disputation if it's an expression of words or an expression of heart. But the idea is that someone who's suspected his teacher of wrongdoing is like doing it with God. שנאמר וידבר העם באלוקים ובמשה. They said in the book of Numbers, chapter 21, the people spoke against God and against Moses. So the pasuk link God and Moses with regard to this matter. So they, for example, said that the manna from heaven is going to cause them intestinal diseases and they're going to die. Marsha goes differently, but that's the common, the Rashi and other commentator hold. Because let's face it, Moshe Rabbeinu did not do anything by himself. It's all by God. So the moment you give him a hard time is in a way against God. Osher shamur alav lera'ato. King Solomon said in the book of Ecclesiastic, Kohelet, chapter 5, verse 12, that there is another sickness I saw, which is a people who pursue wealth, that its wealth is a safeguard for his honor, for his harm. What does that mean? Amar Reish Lakish, ze oshro shel Korach. So here Reish Lakish said this is referring to the wealth of Korach, which was of no use to him. The fact that Korach was wealthy is derived from the pasuk. They said, ואת כל היקום אשר ברגליהם, אמר רבי אלעזר, זה ממונו של אדם שמעמידו על רגליו. So he said that this is the substance that was in their feet. So they said that's basically the person's property that's standing by his feet. That either you go literally, that gives him something that make him feel good or make him a heart do good. The Kli Yakar differently is between head and the heart, but the key is that's the point of money. So it's a famous story about the great Gemarrah Rabbi, the Chidushei Harim. I think Chidushei Harim. So the story goes that was one mechutan, one father-in-law, that took a yeshiva boy, married his daughter, and he gave him a total support, a lot of money, and also to open a business. And the man wasn't successful, neither in business. He didn't become a giant Torah scholar. So someone asked the Hasidic Rabbi, the Rabbi of Gur, what's the story, how come? So Rabbi said that in his wisdom, check again if the mechutan, if the father-in-law have that money, kosher money. Because sometimes people gain money, but it's not in the proper way, not kosher money. And that money, it's not a blessing. Sometimes it's either you have a big hole in your pocket, or it even can harm you, that money. So he said, check carefully and see that the reason is no benefit. It's most probably the way he acquired was not in the correct way, and sure enough, it was the correct approach. ואמר רבי לוי, מסוי 300 פרדות לבנות עם מפתחות של בית גנזיו של כוח, וכולו הקלידי וקלפי דגילדה. So here they want to express Korach's wealth. So Rabbi Levi says the key alone to Korach's treasury was a burden requiring 300 white mules to transport them, and moreover all the keys and lack of leather. So it's a vastness of his wealth. So we should know, number one, 300 in the Talmud is always a language of exaggeration, but the concept just want to show that he was wealthy. אמר רבי חמה, ברבי חנינה, 3 מטמוניות הטמין יוסף במצרים, אחת נתגלתה לקורח, אחת נתגלתה לאנטונינוס בן אסווירוס, ואחת גנוזה לצדיקים לעתיד לבוא. So he said that Joseph, the biblical righteous Joseph, concealed 3 buried treasures in Egypt that he accumulated from the sale of grain during the year of famine. So the location one was revealed to Korach. Location, the second one revealed to Antoninus, was the emperor of Rome. And one remains hidden for the righteous in the future, which is the time of Mashiach, the Messianic era. So the Ben Yehuda explained that those 7 years that was great abundance to the world, Joseph collected and supervised it, and he makes sure that that it was saved properly and it was all get with total honesty, and was his private treasury, not part of the king's treasury. But those people who purchased divided to three different type of people. It was, that's the Ben Yoredah, he said, one was idol worshippers, and the second one was people that acquired their wealth through cheating and lying, and the third one was the pious people of the non-Jews that kept the 7 universal Noahide laws, and their money was clean from any misleading. So he explained that it distributed the same. Those who idol worship, it wasn't successful money, and those and Joseph cannot collect them in one location, so it was lost. There are one is Korach took is because of that money, and therefore he went down the Sheol, went down like his life. The second one, the Antoninus discovered, and he brought it to Rome, and it's a regular use. But the money that was Nakimi Isu, the money was total kosher and was given to pious people in the world. So Joseph concealed it in a third location that tzadikim la'atid lavo, the righteous people in the future, will inherit them. Now the Gemara goes further to discuss the punishment of Korach himself. There is a Mergalei Mukot and Baal HaTurim on this. Anyway, ואמר רבי יוחנן, קורח לא מן הבלויים ולא מן השרופים, which means that Khatam Sofer said that the Korach died the next day. לא מן הבלויים דכתיב את כל אדם אשר לקורח, ולא קורח מן השרופים דכתיב באכול האש 50-200 איש ולא קורח. Not everyone agree with that. במתנית תנא קורח מן השרופים ומן הבלויים. מן הבלויים דכתיב ותבלע אותם ואת קורח, מן השרופים דכתיב ותצא אש עצה מאת השם ותאכל 50-200 איש וקורח בעדיו. אמר רבא, מאי דכתיב שמש ירח עמד זבולה לאוחסיך לך ומלמד שאלו שמש וירח לזבול. אמרו לפניו ריבונו של עולם, אם אתה עושה דין לבן עמרם נצא, ואם לאו לא נצא עד שזרק בהם חיצים, אמר להם בכבודי לא מחיתם, בכבוד בשר ודם מחיתם, והעיד נפקא אדמך ולהו. דרש רבא, מאי דכתיב אם בריאה יברא השם ופצתה האדמה את פי, אמר משה לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא, אם בריאה גיהינום מוטב, אם לאו יברא השם. למאי אימא למברא ממש, ואין כל חדש תחת השמש, אלא לקרובי פיתחה. ובני קורח לא מתו. תנא משום רבנו אמרו, מקום להתבצר להם בגיהנום, וישבו עליו ואמרו שירה. So, most probably the simple way they did teshuva. Not everyone agrees, but that's the common, like the psalm, למנצח בני קורח. אמר רבא בר חנא זימנה חדה, אבא כזילנה באורחה. Said one time, I walk on the path, אמר לי היו תאיה, I saw a Yishmaelite merchant. Ta ve'ach ve'la bluya de Korach. Come and I show you the place that Korach was swallowed. Azil chada trei bizei dava kanafik kitra minayu. He showed me 2 holes in the ground. So the Chilusha Gadot in Bava Batra 74 tried to explain what is the 2 holes. Like Moin Eruvin 19 is like the fire of Gehinom. Anyway, Shakal Gvava de Amra Amshei Maya Vodve Bereish Rumchei ואחלפי התם. So the Arab took the woolen fleece and mapped it with the water and placed it on the tip of the sphere and passed it over the fissure there. The fleece was seen, indicating the level of heat there. ועוטב בריש רומחי ואחלפי התם. אי חרך, אמר להצאת מה שמעת. He said to me, listen, what do you hear? ושמעי דאבו כאמרי אחי, and I heard that that's what they said, משה ותורתו אמת והם בדאים, או ואנו בדאים. Moses is true and his Torah truth, and they're referring to themselves, are liar. So, since they disputed Moses and his Torah, and he said that he made up all these things, so now they came out and said it clearly that Moses is truth, that his leadership is truth, and his Torah is truth, to what Chaim said as well. 110b, Amarle, so the Arab, the merchant, the Ishmaelite said to him, to Rabbi bar Chama, Kol tlatin yomi mehadra lehu gihinom. So it means, Rashbam explained in Bava Batra 74, that every Rosh Chodesh, every 30 days, they have the judgment in Gehinom, כבשר בתוך קלחת. It's like meat cooking in the cauldron. ואמרי אחי, and that's what they say, משה ותורתו אמת והם בדאים. Moshe Rabbeinu and his Torah are truth and they are liars. So he basically, Rashi explained that every 30 days he saw it, but Maharsha explained beautifully, and he said that because they challenged Moshe Rabbeinu leadership and they said, Ki kol ha'eda kulam kedoshim ubetocham Hashem, that all the congregation are holy and included God, so it means that they apply to what? To 12 tribes. So since the year divided to how many? To 12 months. So therefore, in order for them to say Moshe emet veTorato emet, so therefore they have to declare that accordingly, which is every 30 days, every month. The Brisker Rab said that basically the whole concept of veTorato emet, it's because they don't believe in the Torah, so they said Moshe emet, Torato emet. But the Maram Shapira Milublin, the one who beautifully invented the idea of Daf Yomi, he brings from the Chidushei Harim, the Gemarrah Rebbe, he brings that wicked people, something that they're making teshuvah before they kind of the end of their life, and everything will expunge. And there are some people who go to the extreme that they whole life sin in order just to repent before they die, and they thought that then everything will be abolished. So he said that that's the story of Korach and his assembly, that they use the word vehen badaim, that they are liars, that even at that moment it's not a full concept of sincere tshuva. דור המדבר אין להם חלק לעולם הבא. The generation of the wilderness have no share in the world to come. So the Braita elaborates, and they said, תנו רבנן, דור המדבר אין להם חלק לעולם הבא, שנאמר, במדבר הזה יתמו ושם ימותו. זה after the scene of the spies. The Torah said in the book of Bamidbar, chapter 14, verse 35, in this wilderness they die, and what does that mean? יתמו ושם ימותו. יתמו בעולם הזה, so meaning they will be done in this world, ושם ימותו בעולם הבא, and they die in the world to come. ואמר, so obviously the מפרשים said that it's not the entire דור המדבר, only those who did not do תשובה, ואומר, אשר נשבעתי באפי, מבואון אל מנוחתי, דברי רבי עקיבא. So they said what we recite every Friday nights from Tehillim 95, at 40 shana akut bedor, and there are 40 years there, and then God said, for I took an oath in my anger that they should not enter into my rest, which means that they'll not have the privilege to gain the internal rests. Menuchati, Maharsha said that that's not Eretz Yisrael, but that's the Olam Haba. Rabbi Eliezer אומר, באינן לעולם הבא, שנאמר, אספו לי חסידי כותב ואיתי עלי זבח. אלא מה אני מקיים אשר נשבעתי באפי, באפי נשבעתי וחוזרני בי. So it's just in a moment of roughness, of anger. רבי יהושע בן קורחה אומר לו, נאמר פסוק זה, אלא על כנגד דורות הבאים. The future generation is fully Chasidai elu tzadikim shecholdu bador. That's the pious people in every generation. כותב איתי עלי זבח אלו חנניה מישאל ועזריה שמסרו עשרה לתוך כבשן השם. The famous story we learned several days ago. The three righteous people in the book of Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, that they went to a furnace in order to refuse to bow down to an idol. That the Nebuchadnezzar created. And that's a Kortei Briti, that they follow my covenants. עלי זבח אלו רבי עקיבא וחבריו שמסרו עצמם לשחיטה על דברי תורה. That's obviously Rabbi Akiva and his fellow. because they gave themselves up to slaughter over the matter of Torah. And we all, I assume, know the story, how the Romans put a decree that not teach Torah. Rabbi Akiva refused, and they tortured him. And the Gemara in Brachot 61b elaborate how badly he was tortured, and how the other 10 martyrs, like Rabbi Chanina ben Tradion, also burn, and others, Gemara in Avodah Zarah 18. So they basically, it's called 10 martyrs, and that's Alei Zavach. So the Zavach is like Torah. So there is a beautiful touch here from the late Rabbi Yeshua Kutner Zatzal. He said that according to Kabbalah tradition, righteous people like level of Rabbi Akiva do not reach the level of feeling Yesurim. They such a level of spirituality, they don't feel physical pain. So the Gemara over there said that the Talmidav Amrulo, his disciples, said to him, that he should give up and expedite his demise, and he refused. So the Or HaChaim HaKadosh said something that's hard to understand. Obviously, it's a more euphemism. He said that the Almighty said that anyone that neherag al kiddush Hashem, that there was slaughter for the sake of God, it's like nimrach adam al bigdei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's like the blood was spilled over the clothing of Hashem, which obviously it's not the literal meaning. Anyway, Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe Omer Bayin hen laolam haba shnemar uvdui Hashem mishumon uvaot Tzion berina. Isaiah in 35 said that the Redeemer of the Lord shall return and come singing to Tzion, meaning those whom God redeemed will yet come to Tzion. So the Maharsha explained that even before they return, they are called the redeemed of God, and these are the people who left Egypt, who were the redeemed of God in the past. So in a way, Rabbi Akiva abandoned his piety and uncharacteristically interpreted the verse in a very harshly way, because he said that the generation of the desert do not have a share in the world to come. Shene'emar, that's the famous prophecy of Jeremiah before they went to exile. In the second chapter of Jeremiah, second verse said, Aloch v'karat bo'znei Yerushalayim lemor, come and said, cry in the ear of Yerushalayim, saying, Ko amar Hashem, zacharti lach chesed nurayich, avat klurotayich, lechtecha acharai b'midbar be'eretz lo zruya. I remember all the affections of your youth, the love of your espousals, how you went after me in the wilderness, in the land that was not sown. ומה אחרים באים בזכותם, הם עצמם לא כל שכן. So, obviously the simple explanation is that the generation of the wilderness themselves have a share in the world to come. But as we said, that it's disputable. But next Mishnah dealing with the 10 tribes. As you know, in the second book of Kings, chapter 17, verses 6 to 23, there is a description of the exile of 10 tribes that Sanherib, the Assyrian ruler, exiled. So the Mishnah said, Aseret hashvatim enan atidim lachzor. The 10 tribes out of 12 tribes, children of Yaakov and Rachel and Leah, etc., are not destined to return to Eretz Yisrael even during the Messianic era. Shene'emar, because Moses said before his end of the Torah, he said in Dvarim, Deuteronomy 29, Vayashlichem el eretz acheret kayom hazeh. So they said, and cast them into another land as in this day. So it's important that there is a few of you, what does that mean? There are those who say that no share in the world to come, literally. There are others that they will not return. But it's important that we are not part of the 10 tribes. We are part of the other 2, Yehuda and Binyamin. the Chidushei Arim, they said on behalf of the Gemarrah Rebbe, the previous one, Chidushei Arim, that he said that the Sephardic Jews are from the tribe of Yehuda, and the Ashkenazic Jews are from the tribe of Binyamin, and there are few remnant that left from the tribe of Levi, which are the Kohanim and Leviim. But he said that there's a lot that was written, for example, about the Yemenite Jews. So it was written in several books that Ezra, the one who led the group to build the second temple, approached the Yemenite Jews and they refused to join him. And he put a strong word against that. The same applied to the people from Spain, from Toledo, again. But the idea is from these two tribes, Yehuda and Binyamin, it's scattered of all the Jews around the world. So he said, Ma hayom holech ve'eno chozer, af hem holchim ve'einam chozrim divrei Rabbi Akiva. The same way as day passes, never returns, so the 10 tribes go into exile and not return. That's Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Eliezer אומר, כיום הזה מה מעפיל ומאיר, אף 10 השבטים שהשפלה להם, ככה ידע להעיר להם. So Rabbi Eliezer said, no, the same way as day and night. So the Khatam Sofer explained that by us it's what is a Laila, it's the darkness, then eventually it's the beginning of the day. We start at night and then we follow the day. But he said the idol worshippers, the opposite. They feel good about the current life, but the end is darkness. That's the famous Khatam Sofer. But there is a big question what exactly applies to those 10 or 12 tribes and how there is a Rabbeinu Moshe ben Nachman, the Ramban in Sefer HaGeulah. He brings 8 proofs that they returned at the time of Messianic era. And Rabbeinu David and Aran have a view, and obviously Rashi bring from his teachers. So you see a lot of views what exactly happened and how. תנו רבנן 10 השבטים אין להם חלק לעולם הבא, שנאמר ויתשם השם על מתם באף ובחמר ובכסף גדול, ויתשם על מתם בעולם הזה, וישלחם אל ארץ אחרת לעולם הבא דברי רבי עקיבא. רבי שמעון בן יהודה איש כפר עכו אומר משום רבי שמעון, אם מעשיהם כיום הזה אינם חוזרים, ואם לאו חוזרים. That's very irrational. He said, if you go by making teshuvah, they return, good, or if they continue to sin, they will not return to Eretz Israel. So the Beersheba explains that this approach to the 10 tribes relates specifically to the first generation of exiles who are wicked and are worthy of share in the world to come, and there is nothing preventing their children from the share in the world to come. And from return to Eretz Israel. That's basically the explanation of Rabbi David Bonfitz, and the Beersheba brings the Divrei Yamim, the Chronicles, chapter 15, that hold that some members of the 10 tribes remain in Eretz Israel and assimilated into the tribes of Yehuda and Binyamin, and their status is certainly like that of the rest of the Jewish people. Anyway, Rabbi אומר, באים לעולם הבא, שנאמר, ביום ההוא ייתקע בשופר גדול. He says that they are sure in the world to come, because Isaiah in 27 verse 13 said, at that day you will hear the strong blast of sound of the shofar, and that's the 10 tribes that went to Ashur, to Assyria. So again, if you melt the opinion, it's all act of teshuvah. If they do teshuvah, things will change. אמר רבא בר חנא אמר רבי יוחנן שבקה רבי עקיבא לחסידותי, שנאמר הלוך וקראת את הדברים האלה צפונה, ואמרת שובה משובה ישראל נאום השם ולא אפיל פניי בכם, כי חסיד אני נאום השם לא אתור לעולם. זו שיטה מקובצת. You bring Gemara and Bava Kama about Nechunיה, איש כפר שיחין, תוספות, ישרים דרכי השם. Anyway, there's the whole concept of what does that mean. חלק לעולם הבא. מהי חסידותי? those who have time להוריד שיטה מקובצת. שמע איך זה תניא קטני בני אישי ישראל באים לעולם הבא, שנאמר כי הנה היום בא בוער קטנו והיו כל זדים וכל עושה רישה קש, וליד אותם היום הבא אמר השם צבקות אשר לא יעזוב להם שורש וענף שורש בעולם הזה, ענף וענף לעולם הבא. דברי רבי גמליאל. רבי עקיבא אומר באים הם לעולם הבא, שנאמר פתועים השם שכן כרוכים בחיי הים לינוקה פתיה. So over there they call a little ינוקה they call him Patya. In Arabic word is Pati, means child. So there's a version of, that appears in the Midrash. In Arabia they call a child Peti, and the Aruch cites a variant reading like Fanti from the Latin infants, meaning a young man, infant. Anyway, Godu ilana vechabloi ואומר, that's from book of Daniel chapter 4, Godu ilana vechabloi ברע מקר שורשוי בערה ולמען עמכם לא יעזוב להם שורש וענף שלא יניח להם לא מצווה ולא שיעורי מצווה. What is שיעורי מצווה? That's the Rabbi Akiva Eiger in Avodah Zarah chapter page 3 say that even דקדוקי מצווה, even small one, דבר אחר שורש זו נשמה וענף זה הגוף. So another one is the shoresh, the root is referring to the soul, and branch it's referring to the body. Aval ktanei bnei rish'ei ovedei kochavim. But everyone agreed that the minor children of the wicked of the nation who idol worship, and divrei hakolen ba'im la'olam haba. They emphasize on the word rish'ei, so they have no share in the world to come. So it's a two version if it's Rabban Gamliel or not. But anyway, nafkalei, from the pasuk of Yeshaya, chapter 26, verse 14, Vate'abed kol zecher lamo. Vate'abed kol zecher lamo, saying, and you will cause all their memory to perish. So there is a story about the late Kloisenburger Rebbe, the Tzanzer Rebbe, who was the one for Daf Yomi and for Shas a lot. No, some said no Shas by heart, but anyway, he went to Hungary, to the ghetto. And he found one of those Jewish officers that marry out of faith, and he rebuked him strongly, and he showed him how wrong is he, and how and the fellow regret, and the next day he passed away. So that's the idea of what the Maggid of Kozhnitz used to say. זכרתי לך חסד נעורייך, אהבת כלולותייך, לכתך אחריי במדבר בארץ לא זרועה. The Almighty said that I remember you, that you, the people, go to exile for about 2,000 years, and you have such a mesirut nefesh, such a devotion to Torah. So therefore, there is no reason not to be redeemed, and Hashem will help that we'll have the redemption speedily soon in our days. Amen.